The cloud, there we go. All right, well, welcome everybody. It is March the 4th. Time is trucking along here and we're up to our weekly update and joined again by our fan favorite, our company favorite, Mr. Anthony. Good to see you and good to have you here again.
Always glad to be here, Al.
So, I try to find fun and unique pictures sometimes to add to this. So here we go. Let's go through that crosswalk together.
Oh, I love it.
Right. And today we get to do a little bit of screen sharing on how we're going to use the new platform for onboarding employees. So the UX has been designed. And so here we go. Let's just jump right in. This will be the screen that employees will get to see. And when we talk about engagements, it's the different and various jobs, current and historical, that somebody might have had within our within the platform. And so once they're logged in and they pick one of those two companies, this is a sample of the first one, which is Hammock, and it will show them their last paycheck here, just in a summary form, what they've made year to date, and a list of all their paychecks. And so their profile information will be up, be up here. Then we have a couple we have just kind of the sub menu in here. And each of those is clickable. So if they look at how they want to be paid, they can actually set a preference. It does not mean that this is what an employer is going to be forced to do. It is just what the employee is saying is their preference. They would prefer to have a check or a direct deposit. And then they can actually set up as many different bank accounts as they so choose. Their tax withholdings, this is going to be an audit. This is an automated process. So I've actually seen that side of things. So based upon their address and their work location, it's going to determine what forms they need to complete and walk them through the completion of those forms. And if they need to update their settings, they just relaunch the W-4 setup and it will walk them right back through all of this. And then it will be a live update that will actually affect all of their engagements, because this is an employee-based control function, not an employer-based. And so this will populate across all their engagements, which is really super cool. And then their list of W-2s, which they can then download. And of course, it'll give them just a quick little overview of what they made for that year and what taxes they paid. And then they can download their W-2 and away they go. So that's really simple, really straightforward, very clean. And then if you go to check out an actual paycheck, they can download that stub. And of course, this gives them the details of what occurred in that paycheck. And let's see, so because this is static data, it's actually not cross-referencing. So the 5,000 really would be 6,000.
Right.
So that'll cross-reference. So we're just seeing a hardwired sample, not the actual live functioning portion.
Right.
So that's pretty cool. And then up in the left corner of the screen, you're able to just do a drop down and select which of the companies that you'd like, which of your jobs that you want to go see that detailed information from.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty cool. Right? Easy peasy.
Yeah, looks good.
Any kind of questions you have on that, we can go back through and look at those screens. I wanted to kind of run through it first, and I figured it would generate some of your questions.
Well, that's interesting. Now, when an employee interacts with your portal, I'm assuming now, because you are independent of Intuit, you're going to be setting up a new user ID and password of some kind with wholesale payroll. Yeah. And or is it still through True Payroll? Are we going to see wholesale payroll on the top, or are we going to see True Payroll, or how's that?
You won't. So I'm going to be a completely white labeled.
Okay. So you won't see True Payroll on there. You'll see. Okay.
You'll see True Payroll. You won't see wholesale payroll.
Right. And the good news is, one of the things I found a nuisance with Intuit was the fact that I already had like a QuickBooks administrator account and all those kind of things with a specific email address. I had to keep changing email address till I found one that worked with payroll where I work now. So that's going to be totally
Yes.
eliminated because this is going to be totally unique. So that problem is going to go away. Uh, and then you're confirming that with your nods. That's great.
Yes, there's several issues with that, Anthony, that
Right.
will absolutely be gone. One of those is exactly that issue.
Yeah.
So what happened, just as a brief background,
Right.
when Intuit bought the platform, they made no changes with what was formerly PayCycle. And then maybe 4 or 5 years ago, they integrated their sign-on features, and they did this across their entire realm of products. And they created a one access point so that you could log in and using the same credentials for each of their products. So whether it was TurboTax, whether it was QuickBooks,
Right.
whether it was a payroll product or
Right.
any of their other stuff, it would be X email, Y password, and you would use it across everything. But the problem is this isn't an Intuit platform that we've been on. It's a PayCycle
Right.
platform. So when they integrated that, and there are people that had used email addresses and it didn't matter. You could have used an email with them from 20 years ago and never actually, so you could have signed up for, say, TurboTax 20 years
Right.
ago, actually never used it, but just they had that email address. Well, it created conflicts because they operate in what are called realms. Literally, it's what internally they call their different server setups. And for kids today that play games, it's essentially the different servers, and in the gaming world, they call them realms. And so
Okay.
it just created all kinds of conflicts. Then what they did, they did that, but they also updated a piece of the platform that all of our customers have been using and removed our ability to support you with access issues. So it just happened yesterday. Somebody had a problem trying to get their employee logged in. We could not facilitate the resolution of that problem. I knew what the problem, I know what the problem is. They have a conflict in their email address. So
Right.
you either have a choice of contacting their chat support, again, Philippine based, or create a brand new email that's never been used in Gmail or something, and then give that to us. We can change the employee profile to that email and resolve the conflict that way. But they really tied our hands together and didn't allow us to actually facilitate solutions for customers. Now we're with wholesale payroll, it's independent of everybody else. And
Right.
the architecture that is involved with the user roles and permissions and authentications and all that is really quite secure and robust. And we have the ability to fix issues when they arrive, if there is one.
Right. And you didn't have that level of control or access.
We haven't for the last 4 or 5 years. Yeah.
Okay.
Originally,
Yeah.
we could help facilitate some resolution of it, but not anymore. And it's just one of those things that's extremely frustrating. And that goes across almost every other platform too. If you're an accountant or a payroll provider, you're really tied to a very dependent model on the software company's support staff to do really mundane, normally recurring type things across customers.
Right.
Access issues is one of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is a very common issue because, there's, that's a common issue. That just happens.
It is. And it's nice that the design of the wholesale payroll platform enables its subscribers to support employers and employers to actually support themselves with their own employees. So that's all built in. It's so
That's
unique
great.
and so dynamic. It's really cool. I'm so excited. I'm just, next month, can't get here soon enough.
No, that's great. That's exciting for you, Al. So here's my second question, and it relates to the W-2.
Sure,
Since the employee has access to the W-2 online once they have an account, do you still, as an employer, have an obligation to send them a physical copy or deliver a physical copy to them?
Nope.
So once you make that access, then you don't have to do that. That's federal law, or
you've provided it electronically at that moment, and it's a matter of convenience or preference as to whether or not you're going to mail them out. There's a large segment of the population that's never going to access their account, and we see it all the time. So in the scope of what we did this past year, about 40% of our customers, we actually print and mail W-2s for.
Right.
I don't suspect that that'll change even with this access.
I believe you. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
old habits die hard, right? And a lot of people just are so used to that. And yeah.
Well, and part of it, Anthony, is that they don't, there is a certain segment of the workforce that just won't do this for
Right.
all of their own reasons.
Right.
They won't take direct deposit. They won't do the electronic stuff. And that's just, that's the world we live in. And
Well, it may not be a bad thing, you know.
I'm right
with
there
the
with
world
you. I was
going
about to say
crazy.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there might be some reasons why we don't mind them doing that. I'll just leave it at that.
Yep. Me too.
Yeah, those
But
are my
yeah,
only questions I
ultimately-
can think of. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, preferably, ultimately, we would see it go this way just because it's easier all around.
Sure.
But as a payroll provider, True Payroll will step in and do whatever our customers really want us to do when it comes to these payroll related issues. So if they want us to print and mail, we'll do it. No problem.
So
All of our
just jumped
services
in
stay
my-
the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The question that just popped into my mind was, okay, so I know our company, we direct deposit everyone.
Yeah.
Do you have a lot of clients who do mixed? So they do some direct deposit and some check?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Is that right, eh?
Lots of them. Lots.
Okay. Okay.
I'd say actually the majority.
Oh, is that right? Okay. So we are
It's a
the
mix.
exception to the rule that we have everybody on direct deposit.
I would say the bell curve on that is going to be 20% on the outside and
Okay.
60% in the middle, and the 60% in the middle is the mix. 20% on the left is going to be, and it may even be a little bit more narrow than that. It may be more like 30 and 40 in the middle.
Right. Right.
But yeah,
Okay.
yeah, there's a good number that are all checks. There's a good number that are all direct deposit, and there's also a good number that are a combination of both.
Okay.
And so this little part of an employee's profile will let an employer know what their preference is. And if somebody doesn't have bank accounts, they have to have a check. And unless they go with the Dataset Go pay card, which comes out in 2 weeks or so, 2-3 weeks, we'll be able to issue very inexpensive Visa debit cards.
Oh, so you can pay a person through a debit card
You can.
effectively.
Yep.
Oh, that's cool. That's I've never heard of that. Okay, that's
Yeah, and
interesting.
it's not tied directly to a traditional financial institution. I mean, it is, but it's not like there's no branch to go to. It's a Visa card, and you load up that Visa card,
Mhm.
and there is no. So unlike other pay cards, our pay card, because we're using it, the Dataset Go will be using it across all their product lines. But for us here in wholesale payroll, in True Payroll, the employee won't be paying a fee to utilize the card. It operates like any other Visa card or debit card, where the issuer, in this case, is paid by the interchange and merchant fees that occur on the other side of things.
So the
Whereas-
employee never pays a fee then, is what you're saying.
Right. Neither does the employer.
And so every time they get a payroll, they just have an electronic deposit put into the card and you don't even
Yeah.
see it. So that happens instead of a direct deposit. It just gets
Yeah.
deposited to this card. They can see the balance on it, but it's not, is it in their name actually
It's in
attached
their
to
name.
it? Is it,
Sure.
it's in their
Yep.
name? And
Yep.
there is some kind of protection on that card. So they must have some kind of
Like any other Visa.
okay.
It's
So like
actually issued by one of the world's largest fintech companies.
oh, well, that's cool. Okay. I wasn't
Yeah.
aware of that. That's so
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
This card is, and so
Yeah.
they can actually apply and have 10 of those if they want, and set up 10 different accounts here, right? So they would be able to click into this and add a bank account, and they would
Right.
add that debit card, that debit card, that debit card, and they could split it by percentage, set fee, or mixed amounts, or mixed allocations.
Right.
And for certain segment of our workforce, they tend to send money elsewhere. And
Right.
so they could easily get the debit card, mail it off to wherever they need that person to get it. It will deposit US based side. And wherever that card is used, they use it. And so there could be international interchange fees and things like that, but where it might affect that card, but so there might be a fee in that situation for the money exchange rates.
Money transfers. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
that is really interesting. Okay.
but it's real time stuff, they don't, nobody has to go to a Western Union or things like that. And so it's a unique offering, and I'm not aware of any other payroll company that offers that level of uniqueness in their card for no money.
Wow. That's right.
I did
really
want
cool.
to make one other comment that I know I've put forward. I'm going to just go back to, this screen. So which one was it? Oh, right. So view the paycheck and printing of the stub. Let me go back to, I think it was in here, moving forward a little bit. Sorry, kind of view.
No worries.
Yeah, so where's the view the paycheck screen? There it is. So where it says download, what I'm going to put in as a feature request, and I don't know if it'll be ready for launch, is when we're back here and somebody logs in. So a lot of times what happens, and it again just happened yesterday, actually twice this week, we got requests for, hey, can you get us pay stubs for XYZ employee because they're getting a car, they're getting a house, or something's going on, they need to have their record. So is to have a checkbox on the side and say, hey, print, and download these particular pay stubs all at once, as opposed to having to
For
click
credit
through
purposes.
one at a time. Yeah, for whatever definitely for whatever. And you can see here, it loads the last 5. And then if you need more, you just load them.
Right.
So it saves on download times and whatnot.
Handy little feature. That's great.
Right. So what do you think? Design looks good, pretty straightforward,
I like it.
simple to use.
Yeah,
Cool.
looks cool so far. Yep.
Yeah. I thought so for sure. I really enjoyed seeing how that has progressed. Oh, what did I do? Hit the camera thing? I knocked my camera
Your
off.
picture, you went to a still of yourself.
My controls, there we go.
Yeah,
They were somewhere behind the screen there, but yeah. Oh, I like that particular one. I'm a
easy peasy. Yeah, that's cute.
VeggieTales fan, right? I'm thinking
There
of the
you
peas,
go.
all those French peas.
Yeah.
So that's the update. So
Okay, great.
we kind of got our questions, went through that. Do you have any other types
Nope.
of questions?
No,
So
that's
I am going to talk about one thing because it's happened this week twice. And it goes to one of the core features of the wholesale payroll platform. So this week, we here at True Payroll, somebody tried to scam the system again. And there was a rash of people a number of years ago. The way in which the current provider and others process payroll from a banking side of things, when you put in your payroll today or Wednesday for a Friday payday, the transaction gets submitted. The transfer of money starts right away. And so when that gets submitted, the underlying financial institutions initiate the deposits to the employees before the money is received from the employer. And so there is and so those things literally cross in the mail, if you will. And so when, in this particular case, an employer, this new employer, they know what the system is. So they sign up with a new account and they'll send you their tax ID letter, and it's a month or less old. And all of a sudden they have 10 employees, and next thing, and we get this whole slew of, here's all their tax ID numbers, their bank information, blah, blah, blah. And then you go to look, and the bank accounts are in Virginia, Texas, Arkansas. They're all over the place. And this is supposed to be a local company to their area, which was in a completely different state. And their business check came from Arizona with a different state's routing number for that particular financial institution. So there's just all these red flags that come up.
Yep.
Well, is I share that story to share a second story and to help explain how the wholesale payroll platform has resolved that. So we have an existing customer who had a kind of this one-time, we need to pay some contractor some extra money, and it was substantially greater than the normal pay run. Well, that got flagged by the underlying financial institution and said, we need proof that this is okay because
Yep.
of this scam process that can take place. So that account, they went ahead and processed it because we've had them as a customer for a long time. So it was a surprise to them. It was a surprise to us when this notification came back, but understandably so, it was 3 times the level of a normal payroll.
Right.
So the way that wholesale payroll with the bank that is the backbone behind all the financial transactions, when a payroll is submitted on a Wednesday, the way that this bank is set up, they actually can know whether the funds exist within 24 hours by that next day. And so if we don't get a positive thumbs up, the deposits won't happen. So if the money doesn't exist, no money's going out.
So you're saying your company, wholesale payroll does that, whereas Intuit does not?
Most other providers don't. They do what's these micro loans, basically. They allow things to happen.
Oh, I see. Oh, and so
that's why the fraud.
That's why the fraud was trying to take advantage of that.
Exactly. Yep. It's essentially like a check kiting thing. Really.
Right. Gotcha. You understand what check kiting is. Yep.
And so one of the biggest concerns that I've had over the last 10 years in developing this is, okay, with all of technology that exists, and now you have Zelle and Venmo, and all these things happen so fast in real time, the financial institutions are a little bit, when it comes to business, they're not quite as up to speed. However, there's a new ISO standard coming that they have to deploy they're supposed to deploy this year. Some will do it next year. We're already going to be compliant with it. But all it is to say is we've already resolved for that risk and to avoid and eliminate that entirely. So when this company would come on board or whatnot and to somebody and they try to do this, it won't work. It just won't work. So they can go through this whole process, get set up, try to run a payroll, and that the day before it has to go out. When it doesn't come back as, yep, we've got the money, that payroll won't go through. So it was interesting to see that we had one scam try to happen to us this week, and we had a customer, and it's the same flag for the same reason.
Right.
In the case of this customer, we've had, you need to run a $50,000, your normal payroll's 10, 15,000, but you had a great year. You want to give somebody a $50,000 bonus.
Right.
It would flag it. This system and a lot of others are going to because of the oddness, right?
Yeah.
We wouldn't, because if the money's not there, it doesn't go out.
That's right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
No, totally makes sense. Yeah, that's great story. Great. Thanks for sharing that. That's very interesting.
That was my question for myself, and I answered it for myself.
Yeah, no, it's good. I like it. I like those kind of anecdotal stories because they keep you. Oh no, I haven't done that yet here. They keep you thinking and conscious of, hey, there could be something suspicious going on here. Not that it's necessarily going to happen to you, but you got to keep your mind sharp, right? So those kind of anecdotal stories really help with that. Yeah, thanks for sharing that.
We have to think like a bad guy would think.
Yeah, well, yeah. At least we know they're out there. They're alive and doing well.
And they ain't going anywhere. Yeah, no, they're gonna be here until he comes back.
That's right. That's right.
So, all right. So that's all I got for today. Anything else from you, Anthony?
Nope. Just thanks again for a great session, Al.
Awesome. And
all right,
we'll see you next week. Hopefully there'll be some even more, because I know there's some more things coming. So I've seen some stuff. It looks really cool. So, all right. Thanks, Anthony. And thanks everybody for watching. And we'll be here next week. And you want to register for it? www.truepayroll.com/launch. All right, cool.
Okay. Have a nice weekend, Al. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, you too. All right, bye. Come on, controls. There we go. And for everybody.